wanted to do a little sewing tutorial with you. It is a hand sewing tutorial, and it's to do a pizza zipper pouch. So zipper pouches are great for many things, like lip gloss, hair ties, little toys, pencils, make really good gifts. So I love zipper pouches. So this is a fun one. Looks like a pizza. So hang tight and we'll show you how to make it. Okay, so to get started, we are first going to take this yellow piece, that's our cheese, and we're going to place it on top of the red piece. This is our pizza sauce. So the cheese piece is just a little bit smaller than the sauce piece, so that way you kind of see the sauce coming off the edge. Okay, so it's going to look like that. We're going to pin it in place, and then we will sew that around the edge there using a running stitch. So I'm going to help Peyton get her thread ready. You could use yellow or red thread. Peyton wanted to use red to kind of add some extra accent. And Everly is over here. She's using yellow because she wanted it to blend in. So you can choose which one you want to use. Like I said, Peyton is going to use red. Did you have a question?
Can I stop?
Yep, you can do your running stitch, okay? All right, so she's going to do her running stitch. I'm going to show you how Peyton can get started. So we're first going to take like our arm length. Oh, we need scissors. So let's grab some scissors. So we're going to cut off a length about our arm length wise there. If you want to put some pins to hold that felt in place, you can see I've really got a head start over here.
Wait a minute.
We're going to see if she does any whip stitches. Do you guys ever do whip stitches on accident when you're trying to do running stitches? Maybe. Okay, I'm going to start by knotting off the end of the string. Okay, so that's all ready. I think she's got it pinned in place. So what we're going to do, we're going to start, she has it just loosely pinned in place. We don't have to over pin it. The felt kind of sticks to each other so it doesn't slide around too much. But what we're going to do is we are going to start here at the tip, and I want you to separate the two pieces. And I want to start by only going through our cheese piece, okay? Then I'm going right there on the tip. I'm going to pull it until the knot stops it. And now I can hide that knot in between the cheese and the sauce piece, and then we can just start with our stitching. So I'm going to do a little stitch right there. So what I would recommend for this is to do a running stitch. So the running stitch is kind of the one that looks like a dashed line. You could do a back stitch as well if you wanted it a really strong outline. That would work as well. So remember how to do your running stitch? You're going to go whatever side the thread is on is the side that your needle is going to poke through next, okay? And you want to keep it about the same length if you can. Usually I do about 1/4 inch. So there you go. And then, so you're going to sew all the way around the edge until you get back to where you started. And Evie just has a little knot going over here. So sometimes when it knots up the back, all you need to do is pull the string. Her string kind of, there's 6 strands, and her 6 strands kind of got loose. So we're going to see if we can keep going. I'm going to unthread it. You can also see there's like extra, I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, there's like extra string right there. Sometimes that just happens when the six strands get separated. So sometimes, I'm going to see if she can keep going. That is a sign sometimes that I will grab new thread and just kind of not, add it on to where we were at. And get rid of this one. So we're going to give it a shot and see if it will keep working. If we need to tie on a new piece of thread, we can. So I'm going to put that right there. All right, so I'm going to let them do that, and we will get back to you when they're all done. Okay, so Peyton has hers kind of laid out. She ended up cutting a couple of pieces in half that we did onto the side. We're just going to go ahead and grab a pin. And I would go ahead and just pin all of them in place right now because you know where you want them and how they look. You could just do one at a time as well if you wanted to. But we'll just go ahead and pin them all right now. Yeah.
6.
You want 6?
I'm zigzagging.
You're zigzag. Oh, you're gonna zigzag stitch it. Do you want to put pins in a couple of yours over there?
Yeah.
And then Everly is going to lay hers out. So she cut a couple in half. You need to lay that out, okay? Can you lay out your pepperoni how you want them? Awesome. Now, are you going to want your thread to match your pepperoni and do red, or do you want to do yellow to have some contrast? Like yellow like the cheese.
Yellow.
You want to do yellow like the cheese? So you're going to flip-flop yours. What about you, Miss? Want to stick with red or yellow for your thread?
Red.
Want to do red? Perfect. You guys are kind of making yours just the opposite of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of our stitching in the back is going to get be hidden with our pizza crust piece. So you can just do one kind of longer piece of thread and just kind of go all across the back of your pizza while you stitch these pepperonis. You don't have to have a new thread for each pepperoni, right? So we're gonna knot that up. Have yours all situated over there? I will pin yours in a moment, Miss Everly. So this thread is longer than what we normally would use, for sure, but there we go. So we'll kind of slide that around as we are sewing. So she has hers all pinned in place. So we're just gonna start up here in the top corner, and then we'll just work our way down here to the bottom. And I would recommend doing a running stitch for this, okay? So just do like a running stitch along the edge. And again, you could do a back stitch if you wanted to, but I would just do a running stitch. When you are sewing curves like this, it's better to do smaller stitches. So that way you can work with the curve a little better. Let me see if I can show you. Oopsie. Hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties. My string in the back ended up getting pulled out. So now it's all a mess. All right. So I'll show you a couple of stitches really quick. So you can have space in between there, but the actual stitch itself I would do kind of smaller because you're working on a curve. You're just going to remember to keep pulling until it stops. So I'm going to hand this off to Peyton so she can design that herself. And then I will pin everything in place. So I'll show you guys when it's all done, okay? All right, so they went ahead and they got all of their pepperonis on. This one is easier to tell. This is Peyton's because she has the contrasting thread. So she sewed all of her pepperoni, and then in the back you can see she just zigzagged from each pepperoni piece. So the back has all that extra string, which is totally fine. We are going to knot this off. So again, we're just going to kind of go through a little bit of that felt, make a loop, and tie that off. All right, so we're going to loop that off really quick. My needle just came undone, so I can either rethread the needle or just tie a knot. And I'm just going to tie a knot. Okay, see that string? We're going to cut that string off. Now, the next thing is to do the zipper. So, in your kit you have a yellow zipper, and we have our pizza. So, I kind of did it on this one where we took the pizza, the cheese, and the sauce, and I pinned it onto the crest. So you'll see you'll have the edge of the crest up there. The rest of that is making, kind of lined up, so it's making a triangle. We want to sew the zipper onto the crest. Now, you can tell, maybe, that the zipper is just a little bit too long. And that's totally okay. I'm going to show you guys how to shorten it really quick, okay? So, you can see where the tip of that is meeting. I'm going to make a mark 1/2 inch below that. So this will be marked in your kit as well. I just want to kind of show you. So I have it lined up to 1/2 inch. I'm going to mark it with a marker. So where that blue point is at, that is where we are going to do a zigzag stitch right there, so that way it'll close it off. If you look at the zipper, it has a metal spot right there, and that helps keep the zipper pull from coming off, right? So if I like that, that metal keeps the zipper pull from coming all the way off. So what we're going to do is where that blue mark is at, we're going to do a zigzag stitch using our thread, so that way the zipper won't go past that point. And then we can cut off the rest of it so that we can sew it, it'll be the same size. So we'll do that really quick. I'm just going to cut that off first. Now while you're doing this, you want to be really careful not to play with that zipper pull. Because I've done this before where I cut it off and then I was just messing with this, not thinking, and then once you go all the way off, then your zipper is two separate pieces and it doesn't go back together. So, so don't do that. All right, so we're just gonna use some yellow embroidery floss. You could use the red too if you wanted some contrast, but we'll go with yellow. I'm going to knot that up real quick and get this needle ready. All right, so we're gonna start, we're just gonna go right there until the knot stops and then just go back. I'm gonna go to the edge here, I'm gonna go back and forth. So you're just gonna go around this a few times in the same spot, so that way it makes it nice and thick so that the zipper will not go past there, okay? That a few times and then we'll get ready to prep our zipper. Now we want to make sure we knock this off before we're done. All right, so now you can see I just kind of did the zigzag there. In the back of it, we will knot it off. So I'm going to knot it the same way. I do a loop. What you doing over there, Everly? Making a pretty design with your pins? You want to show our friends what you made?
Not done.
Not done yet? All right. You'll have to stay tuned. All right, so now I have that knot, okay? We're going to pull that string off, or cut it off. I'm just going to leave that there. Now, we'll work on this one. So this one's already pinned in place. Now we're just going to line up our zipper so that it matches up. Now, what I do with my zippers is I use glue. So this is just Elmer's glue, like normal stick glue, the washable kind. And I'm going to put it along the edge here. So the side of the zipper with the zipper pull on it that you use to open and shut it, this is called the right side of the zipper, okay? So in this instance, I'm putting the glue on the right side. I'm going to leave it laying right side up, and then I'm going to match the wrong side of the pizza onto the edge there, okay? And then at this point, we're going to use a running stitch, and we will do a running stitch along the edge, and that's what's going to attach it to the zipper. And then on the other side, which I'll show you guys this, but on the other side, we're going to attach it the other side like that, and that way you'll have a zipper and it'll make a pouch. So the girls are going to work on doing their running stitch right along that edge, and then we'll be back, okay? All right, so we are back. It's a new day, and Everly's not here, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just Peyton and I. But Peyton has done her running stitch along the zipper. And it's kind of hard to see because she chose red, so I'm going to flip it around. You can see on the back side where her running stitch is at, okay? So that way you can get an idea with that. Now, we are going to finish this off. Now, not Everly, Peyton. Peyton did red because she was going to sew right along the red pizza. She could have done tan as well. But what we're going to do is we are going to sew it just until we get to this red part, and then we're going to stop. And then when we do our last part and we do a whip stitch around, she's going to come back and sew off this tan part, okay? So that way we don't have one random red stitch right there. So if you want to go ahead and finish that off, and then we will knot it off. We'll just do a couple more running stitches. All right. Okay, so she did her last running stitch. We're going to go ahead and knot it off, okay? So we're going to end it right here, right at the tip of that red. All right, so do the stitch right there. I'm going to knot it off in the back here. We're going to make that loop right there. Tuck it through. And you're just going to knot it, 2 or 3 times in that same spot. And then we'll add the other part of the zipper. All right, let's go ahead and hide this string. I'm going to hide the string just by going through kind of like half of a layer of the felt. See how you can kind of see the needle still through there? So we just go through the very, very top layer of that felt. and pull it through. Okay. All right, so that part is done. Now it's time to add the back side of the pizza crust to the zipper. So we want to basically match it up just like that. So the zipper will be in between the two pieces, and that back crust is like the opposite or mirroring the decorated pizza crust. So do you remember how to do this, Peyton? We're going to use glue, and I want you to put glue along the tape of the zipper right there, and then we'll add the pizza crust. Oh, sorry. So with this one, I gave her a really big one, which is kind of my fault. Let's just open it and kind of run it along the edge like that, and you can turn it towards you. Remember, the glue is just going to kind of temporarily hold it in place. It makes it sticky so that the material doesn't slide around. I'm going to add just a little bit more. We don't want it to slide around. We also want to be careful not to get glue into the tape. So this, not the tape, I'm so sorry, the teeth. So the teeth are the part that open and shut it right there. So we just want the glue along the tape. So now, Peyton, you're going to take this piece and line it up so it is the opposite of the decorated piece, and we'll show everybody. So that glue kind of helps make it sticky, but it doesn't hold it in place well enough that I would totally trust it. So we're going to grab some pins. You can kind of see she just lined it up. And we're just going to grab some pins and secure it in place with the pins. And now, Peyton, do you want to use tan thread so it kind of blends in?
Yes.
Yeah? All right, so we're going to do another running stitch just along the edge of this zipper tape, I guess. So all pinned in place. So now the glue is going to kind of dry a little bit while while we're getting this all set up. We can also test it out to make sure it's going to match up close enough, which it is. So that's what it's going to look like. So fun, right? All right, let's get our thread ready for the tan, and we will sew it. Let's start it on this end. We're just going to start it by, I don't know, a little less than ½ of an inch from the end there. Pull it all the way until the knot makes it stop, and then just start doing your running stitch, okay? Go ahead and take over, and we'll let her do that, and I'll show you when it's done. Okay guys, so we are back. Peyton has done her running stitch along that second side of the zipper. So again, looking at the back, you can see it a little bit better with the dashed lines, okay? So that's what the running stitch looks like. So she made it all the way across. So in the back, we are going to tie the knot. So I'm just going to kind of loop it underneath. We'll just go with this stitch right there. Once we have our loop, we can tuck the needle through. And then just do a knot, and then let's go ahead and do that a couple more times in the same spot just to secure it. Go through the loop. And one more. All right, so now we have that last little knot there. I'm going to hide the string. Even though it's all on the inside, I like to hide it, so I'm just going to go through the top layer of that felt, pull it, and we will cut it there. Okay, so now our zipper, do you want to give it a go? Want to try it? We haven't even tried it yet, huh?
Yeah.
It works! All right, so now we have 2 slices of pizza. All right. Okay, so now all we have to do, we're going to flip it over so that the top of the zipper is flat. We're going to line up the edges of all these pieces. Now remember, this is just felt, so if you need to trim any of the fabric, you can just cut it yourself. I wouldn't cut too, close to that edge, but this is all going to line up really nice So we do not need to trim anything up. So what I'm going to do is put some pins in here to kind of keep it lined up. Okay. So now that I have the pins in there, okay, so now that we have pins in here, we can sew. Now we will be sewing along the edge, okay? And my preferred way to do it is by using a whip stitch. A whip stitch kind of wraps around the edge. So we will do a whip stitch along the edge on the top of the crest, and then this extra, the side there. Now, one thing I want to point out is if we do that, we didn't actually, let me move this pin. We did not sew this sauce. We did not sew this sauce onto the crest, okay? If you want this to be attached, just use some red thread and do a running stitch right there. We're gonna leave it not attached, and then she can have an extra little pocket, okay? So let's go ahead, we're gonna get ready to do a whip stitch around the edge. Okay, so we're gonna get ready to do a whip stitch, right? Okay.
Yep.
So the other option, like I said, would be a running stitch, but whip stitch is fun. Now, a whip stitch does take quite a bit of thread. I still would not do it super long because it's really hard to sew with a really long thread. So we might just add more thread on when we need it, right? All right, so go ahead and we're gonna knot one end really quick. And grab your needle. So do our 3 knots. Okay. Okay. All right. So now when we do that, we want our string, that loose string, to be just a little bit shorter. We want to keep it so that that string does not get wrapped up into there, because then your thread will not last you very long at all. All right. So we got this all pinned, all kind of squared away. The first thing we're going to do you remember how we only sewed up until that spot because of the red? Let's go ahead and put one extra running stitch in there. So I'm only going to sew one layer. Okay, move it around here. So just right here, I'm going to do a running stitch right there, just so that way we can have it sewed all the way to the end. So, like that. Alright, so now I have that one little running stitch, and now, okay, so we did our running stitch. Now I'm going to do a couple of whip stitches right here at the very top, okay? And that's just to kind of secure that extra corner there. I'm going to try to keep it at the top. And then once we get that edge, because the zipper pull only goes to about a 1/2 inch away from the edge, so once we I kind of want to secure that so it doesn't separate right there. And then we'll go ahead and just start doing a whip stitch all around the outside edge. So remember, when we do a whip stitch, you are going to always do the same motion. So you're going to do your needle underneath and then pull it. And then it wraps around. And the same thing every time, okay? All right, I'm gonna move this on to Peyton because she's gonna do a whip stitch all around the pizza. So always do the same motion. So your needle is coming up from the back to the front, then pull, and then wrap around again, back to front. And you don't want to space it out too far because the bigger space, I guess, in between each stitch will allow things to fall through. So you kind of want to keep it close enough together that, whatever you're going to keep in there doesn't fall out. But for the most part, you should be pretty good if you do it about 1/4 inch in between each stitch. So we will let Peyton work her way all the way around. She probably will need a new piece of thread, so I will be sure to show you that, okay? So we'll let her sew this for a little while. Okay, so Peyton has gone along the edge and she did her corner. So now her thread is just getting too short. So I'm going to show you how we're going to add on another piece of thread, okay? So I'm going to just go No, we're gonna wrap around, right? So we're gonna wrap around, but this time I'm only going through one layer. I'm only going through that bottom crest layer. I'm gonna pull it through. Okay, so now I have the string kind of hanging loose and it's in between the layers. So that way we can hide the knot. Let me grab another piece of thread. All right, so we have another piece of thread. Now all we're going to do is just tie these two in a knot. And we're going to do it in a way that we can tuck that knot back in between those layers. So just as if you're going to tie your shoes, just tie a knot. And make sure it's secure. I know that these knots have names, I just don't know what they are. So I'm going to say just as if you're tying your shoe, okay? You're going to knot that, and then I'm going to cut off these extra tails. Not too short. You want to leave a little bit of string still, but we do want to cut it so it's not hanging super long, okay? So there's our knot. It's not, I mean, I could have gotten it closer to the edge even more. You can see there is a little bit of excess right there. That's totally okay. I'm going to take this knot, I'm going to kind of tuck it in between those layers, and then we'll get this ready. There we go. All right, so now we have our new string. So we have that knot tucked in. Now we're just going to start whip stitching. So we'll just start right in that same spot, go through all of the layers. And then just keep on continuing. So this one looks a little bit funky. Maybe that's kind of how it is since it only went through one layer. That's okay. I'm actually going to just sew kind of right on top of it. And then you can just continue going that same direction that you were going before. All right, so I'll give this back to Peyton, and this should be enough string, I think, to get her to the end. Okay, I'm going to pick it up, go from the back to the front, going through all 3 layers. So she's going through the back layer of crest, the second piece of crest, and then the sauce, okay? So that's what's going to keep the sauce secured down, because you're going to be sewing that down when you sew the pizza crust, since we did not sew that yet. All right, so we'll let her finish that off, okay? Okay, so Peyton is getting really close to the end over here, okay? What we're going to do, you can kind of see there's a lot of layers going, it's just that really small peak. So we are going to put a pin in right there to help keep that all lined up. And then she can finish doing her last couple of stitches, and then we will knot it out. So go ahead. Could have given her a little bit longer piece of string, but I think what she has will work. You know what? Sorry. Remember how I trimmed that zipper at the beginning? I don't think I trimmed it quite enough. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take that pin out because she's getting really close to the edge, and then she can kind of just hold it with her fingers. We're just trying our best to keep it all lined up, but as long as you go through, that's a little too close or too far. So towards the tips, the beginning and the end, I would make sure your stitches are not too far away from each other, especially when you get towards the end. You get a little bit more anxious to be done, so I noticed that in general people's stitches start to get longer. So yes, now she made it all the way. We just have this extra little tip, and it's really not very much fabric, if you can see. So we might go through, I'll do maybe 2 more. Help secure it a little bit more. The hardest part is with the tip is making sure you're getting through all 3 layers. You want to go through the pizza sauce and the 2 layers of crust. All right. So we're going to finish this off with a standard knot that we do, and we will do that let's just go ahead and do it in the back here. Try to go through one more layer. These tips do not want to hang out with each other, huh?
Yeah.
There we go. Oops, that came undone. All right, so in order to knot it, I do want to be threaded. So we'll go ahead and thread this back up. We're just going to do our normal knot right in the back, okay? So the back of it, I'm going to just kind of tuck it underneath the felt and that string right there. Do a couple of loops and then we will hide it in the felt like what we were doing before. You could also do this like in between the layers, kind of like how we added that extra string, but the tip is so skinny that I think it will be kind of hard to hide it anyway. So I think we'll skip that. And my tail was too long. I gotta do that knot one more time. Ah. Okay, so now we have our knot in place. We're just going to hide the string. So I should just kind of go back through where we just sewed it. Bring your needle out an inch or so down. Okay, going to pull that string and then cut it close to the edge of that fabric. And then when you move it, it'll hide. And now you have a cute little pencil zipper pouch. So want to try it out? See what happens when you open it? Hide it. Hold it up high so they can see too.
Oh.
Uh-oh. There we go. Yay! Looks perfect. What are you going to put in here?
I don't know.
You don't know yet? I would put lip gloss in mine.
Oh,
Maybe.
no.
Anyway.
Good idea.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for sewing with us today. I hope you love your new project. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.